First, today is the 8th of May, or Victory in Europe Day, because it was on this day in 1945 that the Allies accepted Germany's unconditional surrender, marking the end of the Second World War here in Europe. Well, commemorations are taking place across the continent today, but given the extraordinary context of coronavirus lockdowns in many European countries, those commemorations are on a much smaller scale than many would have expected for such an important anniversary. Well, with World War II veterans already at an advanced age, large marches and parades are considered too risky. Here in Paris, the ceremonies have been drastically scaled down, but President Emmanuel Macron led events at the statue of General Charles de Gaulle and also at the Arc de Triomphe a little earlier on. Well, France 24's James Andre is there close to the Arc de Triomphe where those commemorations were taking place. James, just tell us a bit more about what happened today.
Well, what happened is that the president went up the Champs-Élysées, stopped in front of the statue of General de Gaulle, which is a little bit further down the famous avenue where he laid a wreath. He actually didn't do it himself. He did not touch any of the flowers today. It was laid by two Republican guards. There was the grandson of the General de Gaulle and his wife. His son, who was supposed to be there and who was invited but who is 98, was not actually present. He then arrived here on the square behind me, the famous Place de l'Étoile, and under the Arc de Triomphe. Well, he revived the flame for the unknown soldier. This was a very scaled back ceremony, of course, with just about 20 people present. There was the Prime Minister, the Defense Minister, also the heads, the chiefs of staffs of the French army, as well as the mayor of Paris, and all around 20 guests when usually there are about 3,000 to 4,000. So indeed the Marseillaise was played, but the generals who were present, for example, did not touch each other's shoulders, which is something that they traditionally do when the Marseillaise is played. So indeed, very, very scaled back, no public, no one along the Champs-Élysées, when usually a ceremony like this one would have gathered large crowds. And of course, this is the 75th anniversary. Many things were planned across France on this occasion. Well, everything or nearly everything has been cancelled, with in most cities or villages, well, simply the mayor coming along and laying a wreath in front of the statues locally.
Okay, and James, we've been talking about these kinds of commemorations every year for the last few years, and we've covered this event together. And never before have we seen perhaps such a small number of people at the Arc de Triomphe on what would ordinarily be a very significant anniversary of VE Day.
Absolutely. This ceremony will probably go down in history because of that. Usually there are bandstands around the Étoile. There's none of that today. Usually there are hundreds of soldiers who are there parading, who also are saluted by the president. Well, none of that this year either. So a very eerie, very weird atmosphere here on this Étoile, which usually would have been absolutely full. A very short ceremony as well, just about 15 to 20 minutes. That's as much as it lasted. So very few people, a very small amount of guests, and of course some social distancing measures. No one was wearing a mask actually during the ceremony. This was because we were told by the Élysée Palace, well, the distances were respected, the security distances. The president, for example, I said it did not touch the flowers, but he also used his personal pen to sign the guest book. He was not handed the sword that is used to revive the flame under the Arc de Triomphe. He actually took it himself from a specially designed stand. So a very weird, obviously, anniversary. A big disappointment also for all the veterans associations who had planned many activities around the 75th anniversary. So indeed, yes, a sense of course, a sense of this is an important moment, a historic moment, of remembrance, but obviously it couldn't take place normally. It's also interesting to note that Emmanuel Macron was supposed to fly to Russia today to celebrate Victory Day in Russia on the 9th, because they do it a day later. Well, that's not happening either.
Okay, a VE Day with a lot of significant differences from the norm. Thank you so much, James Andre, at the Arc de Triomphe. Thank you for bringing us up to speed. Well, on Monday, France